your thoughts on this flood predictions and the preparations so far. If you get on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH, we're demanding to know from you if you live in a flood prone area. All right. What measures would you say you have seen that's been put in place ahead of the impending flood? Everybody is fully aware of the situation in parts of the north. Niger State has been on the news, and the numbers continue to rise. Communities affected by the flooding. Well, if you do not know, earlier this year, I think it was around February, where predictions were made with regards to the climate condition and floods areas that would be affected. These predictions are usually made annually as a seasonal climate prediction, and in February 4, NIMET unveiled the predictions for the year. In fact, I don't think now you even need NIMET to give predictions again. You know the area you live, so you already should have an idea of this is what's going to happen. It's happened for so long now that you can also almost say it's a constant. The only thing that would vary would be the degree at which it happened. Anyways, in that summit, when they were doing the unveiling in January for February 4 prediction, it was an event that was themed the role of early warnings towards climate resilient aviation industry for sustainable socio-economic development. I wonder why the name had to be that long, or the theme, because, anyways, moving forward. They went on and make these predictions. And how effective are these predictions? How have these predictions even helped? It's another very big conversation, because they make these predictions every year, and then the things like what we are seeing in Niger and other parts of the country continue to happen. The idea of the prediction is to avert these things, at least reduce the impact. It doesn't seem to be like what the situation is, which brings me to ask, the approach that NEMA has been applying ahead of floods and flood victims, and how the approach they've been applying. How satisfied are you? Beyond NEMA is, how satisfied are you with the federal government's approach to solving the flood problem? We know that there is a man-made problem that contributes to the intensity of flooding that we've experienced. In fact, just a couple of days ago, we were told that we're going to have flash floods affect several areas of the country. Rivers State happened to be one of those states involved. In fact, they named states to include Bayelsa, Rivers, Anambra, Edo, Enugu, parts of Oyo, Ondo, Osun, Lagos, Imo. The list goes on and on. They were all part of this forecast. And in recent times, with the recent update with regards to heavy rainfall, flash floods, they mentioned some of these states as well, and parts of these states that would be affected. The big question now is, since the beginning of the year, when these predictions were unveiled, what did government do actively that was different from what you had seen before, that gives you the sigh of relief, or if not a relief, at least give you a sigh of whatever it is giving you, to feel that, okay, we just might have a different approach to this time? Because it clearly looks like it's a circle, or we're going round a circle. The same, and then relief materials, and even the relief materials from observations and reports doesn't even go around as it should, and people will get up and live in one place, and it's almost haphazard. In this state, we know that the flood committee, all the committees that were set up by the governor before the suspension and the state of emergency, have been suspended. We had a flood committee at the time that had the deputy governor, the commissioner for information, the commissioner for environment. We had subcommittees in all the local governments that were formed, put together by the council chairman, that were reporting to the central committee, and they were moving, to these areas and having plans on how they were going to, alleviate the impact of the flood on the people. Now, what do we have ahead of? What are the administrators of the local government areas doing? I know that sanitation is something that they've been talking about, and that's what most of them have been talking about. But what decisive, concrete steps are they taking? We used to see the silting of drainage systems. Drainage, for me, I prefer to refer them as gutters, because I don't see how most of them connect. Just mainly gutters. But But this is where we are. So let's start with you first. Tell us, in the area you live, if it's a flood-prone area, have you seen efforts or moves to say something is being done? They are aware of these predictions and the warnings from NIMET, and we are seeing steps that they are taking. Before, we used to see at the Rumokoro area, that canal, they get a swamp boogie and begin to clear, they open the gutters. There are some little things we see that we felt were even not enough. Are you still seeing those little things? 0817-923-0007, 0817-923-0007. You can also call 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0002. You heard from the Rivers State NEMA's office, and in the news, it was the conversation with the head of operations, and he also talked about the agency visiting local government areas. The approach that NEMA has been applying is almost the same. Can you really blame NEMA? Because look at their name, emergency. So yes, there are steps that can be taken to prevent the emergency, but if you are going to criticize NEMA, it has to be how they go about the emergency delivery or emergency aids that they provide. I think that's where many people would criticize NEMA from. But beyond NEMA, the state government and the federal government that has the work of doing some heavy construction work and proper planning. Okay, in the next 5 years, 6 years, we're trying to build this, do this. The roads that we construct, the drainages, the local government councils, how are we making sure that we have these drainages well connected, well planned and built? The people that are approving buildings, do you do your work to go to the places to make sure that where they are putting this house on, where they want to build this structure, it's not it's not obstructing a waterway, it's not a flood-prone area? There's a lot that needs to go into this, and various sectors are involved. How well are they doing it? How impressed are you with what you've seen so far? Muriel, good morning.
Thank you. Andrew, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you. This is a critical woman.
Mm.
I wish that the president will at least give us a media chat. A media chat, or media, what do they call it again? About what is happening, the death toll. If you look at the international community, the news outlets there, you see Niger State is in the news. The death toll is unbelievable. You see, was it on Sunday? And Canada's headlines, it was when the president ordered NEMA to go out and do their job. They have to wait for the president to give them orders to go out and do their job. Money needs to be there, Money needs to be there waiting for this is as they come. But I believe NEMA will have their own to say, if you ask them sincerely why they've not responded, waiting for the president before they respond. It is unbelievable. And just like you said, these are gutters. They are not drainages because they don't connect at all. Now, was it last month, I went to Rumokoro Market. And what I saw, at least encouraged me a bit. I saw the slabs, being open. And those slabs, I believe, they've not been open for years. They opened the slabs and they were bringing up. If you cannot even look at what was coming out of the gutters, it was unbelievable. My goodness. People ran, left that area entirely. What came out of the gutters? The huge, it's piling up to, if they put them together, I think it will amount to one end, this Mount Everest. Very huge and disturbing sight. And someone even told me that flyers went around in this Obiakpo, to shops and residents in Obiakpo, this Rumokuta area, and that they should insisting that everybody should dig their gutters, even if your slab have not been removed, open for 10 years, 20 years, you have to break it open. And people did and brought out there. I saw people doing, and they were seriously doing it, and they issued a fine, a warning that if you don't, it will be a 50,000 naira fine. And I think they were serious because of the seriousness and people.
All right, Muriel.
I don't know of other parts of Port Harcourt, but That was a good move.
Okay.
But our state I don't know, the administration should know that River State is in the pipeline too. We've not recovered from the past one, and now this is coming.
Thank you, Muriel. Let's go to Augustine quickly. Good morning, Augustine.
Good morning.
Go on, please.
Yeah. Let me quickly run down. Please, I want to report a disaster issue that is about to occur. I know that it must surely from the side of from roommate in the community. From roommate in the community, as of last year is something else. The disaster resulted, people lost property worth millions of naira. It resulted the community women to protest along the West Road, to protest that attracted attention of government house. DSS from the government house came down because of that protest. But up till now, no as they. Even before the DSS, I was the man who addressed DSS, took them to the place. It was an eyesore. It was an eyesore. DSS saw it.
What is the place? What was the eyesore?
Not political. All the channel water from the both sides of this West Road down to the communities. And the community has nowhere that can accommodate such water. No place that can accommodate such water. And from the Ministry of Works came from Engineer Cynthia, who was supervising the flyover then, and the Engineer Paul came down and saw those things, knowing that there is a problem here. You know, the community showed them where they can leak this water down to Choba River through the Uniport canal. Very easy something. We show them. They show them the street, all the streets that link to this place. Up till now, nothing has done. As I'm telling you now, people are beginning to park at from making the market road. A very short road that is not up to 1 kilometer. Last year, people from that road parked out from that place. In fact, if I tell you what water destroyed from that road, you won't believe. I have the videos in my phone here. You know, the ministry is aware, the state government is aware, but up till now, nothing has done. So likely this year, people are beginning to pack up from that road. So,
all right,
I cannot make a complaint.
All right,
because I don't know who could design that kind of project. He designed a such project that called Ring Road without providing adequate drainage that will leak water out from the various communities, especially roommate in the community. The drainage proposed there, no leakage. It just directed water.
Augustine, I don't know what happened there, but I think it still sums up some of the things I said. Do we really have a drainage system in River State, in Port Harcourt? Let's not even say the entire River State. Okay, the Port Harcourt metropolis, do we have? We really don't if you take a critical look at it. We really don't. I always make an example with Umuahia North because I was there for a while and the situation with their drainage was fantastic at the time I was there. I don't know if it's gotten better now or worse. Ifeanyi from Ogbakri, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Andrew.
All right.
Okay, I want to quickly say something. Like, I was walking around Port Harcourt sometimes again. I was wondering if this FGA chairman, they could just take it as a responsibility. Like every 6 months, they mobilize, clean up all the gutters. Because if you walk around Ikure Road, Ada George, you see that this lady that sweeps in the night, most times they sweep those stands inside gutter. Those gutter, they are blocked. If you walk around, you see that those water, and the one at Ada George is gutter where the Abuki is storing those manholes. You see that those gutters are already full. Happy told you local government administrator, let them invest in this project. Clean up the gutters. What are they even doing? I don't see any work these local government I don't see what they're doing at all. They should take that in as their work. Let them be cleaning the gutter. They should be their contribution to the mass.
All right, Ifeanyi, thank you. Unfortunately, we have to interrupt you there. Justice from Umujaga, you might have to call us back. I know you've been on the line waiting, but we are now set for a commercial. So when we come back, we'll take more of your calls and hear your thoughts on the issue at hand. Good morning. Let's get on with the conversation. So, yes, some of us already have been calling in and telling us what we think about the flood situation and the preparedness and the approach of government, and whether or not in your locality, which is very key, if you live in a flood-prone area, or what are you seeing around? How prepared is? How much preparation have you seen being put into trying to set up ways to mitigate the impact of the flood, which is basically what we have to do now, because there isn't conversations around how we can even prevent the flood. We've just settled for, well, flood is coming. Oh, it's coming. Okay, everybody, and then we wait for where you go and stay, bring mosquito net for you. That's become the standard. We're not having conversations beyond, how do we mitigate impact? We're not looking at how do we even stop it from happening? How do we prevent it from coming? What do we need to do? You would think that with what we have seen with the major floods we've had from, I think, 2012, 13, coming up until now, about 2 years ago or 3 years ago, we've also had a very severe one. You would think that, okay, from the federal to state government, that would have like a huge collaboration to work on something to tackle this problem. Instead, that's not the case. We saw pictures of what happened in parts of the north, I think 2 years ago, that had the former, was it the Minister for Environment, was it? Or the Minister for, I can't remember. But there was something along the lines that she said, one of the ministers at the time, that the situation in Bayelsa State was not as bad as what was, and it was huge because Bayelsa State was cut off. There are parts of Bayelsa State that were just cut off, and it was a disaster. I remember the road leading to NDU was torn apart. It was a disaster. And then in parts of the north, it was crazy. What the situation was like. We saw gory images, videos, which brings me to the question Erufai asked. Is it that these leaders really love Nigerians, or they just love to rule Nigerians? Because I would not imagine any government at any level to have seen something like that happen, and we did not have any serious conversations around how do we stop this. We're not seeing any serious efforts. We've not heard. It's not taking front page. What's taking front page is 2027. And people are still dying in Niger State because of a problem that's not happening for the first time. And we've been hearing this news. Instead, we are preparing for, impact is coming. Where are you moving to? There is no concrete direction as to how do we stop this from happening again and prevent people from dying or losing properties. Farms of people are being swept away. Their source of livelihood. 0817-923-0007. 0817-923-0007. You can also call us on 0817-923-0002. Apologies again, Justice. If you can call back, please do. On Facebook, we are live at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. On WhatsApp, it is 0809-030-6416. This one says, good morning. TF Okechi says, can Ministry of Development take over this office and stop land developers from sand filling of Rivers State in rivers, or sand filling of rivers? Okay, land reclamation, basically. Land reclamation, some people don't really support it 100%, but it's not really as bad as you think. It's not a bad thing. The thing is whether you do it well and then you create other alternative channels that these waters would, would pass. Someone said, my grandfather never mentioned any flood experience during his father's time. Civilization was not this bad, was not this good, but then now bad. If you look at the paradox of the situation, the paradox of the situation is something else. So, well, there's development, there's growth. Unfortunately, we're not structuring or planning ours as well as we should. And we're not seeing like the other side of it. Magnus from Mile 3. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
Yep, good morning.
Yes, I think the issue of flooding that NIMET has predicted in the state, that the sole administrator should, as a matter of urgency, set up a committee that will begin to work fast, because as it is, rain is coming and water will definitely settle. And our brothers in the Oras region, the Ogoni Agris, as predicted by NIMET, will definitely receive these waters. And how are they going to cope
their houses scattered, their farmland being destroyed by water. In fact, the devastation will be much. So I want to encourage the Zoo administrator to turn around and see a way to curtail this menace when it comes. Thank you so much, and have this Monday.
Justice, Mudioga, what can you tell us? Good morning.
Andrew, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Andrew, why every year we talk about IDP camp, we talk about relief materials, we talk about NEMA, we talk about mosquito net. Is it going to continue like this in eternity? Is there nothing the government can do to solve this issue of flood once and for all? My people in the Orash region, this year again, they will begin to suffer again. No? People will be displaced, their cassava, their products in the farm will be submerged again by the flood. And this has been the experience of these people for years. Is it only what government can do for us? Is there no lasting solution that can be put in place to solve this issue? And in River State, I don't know the last time we did monthly sanitation in the whole of River State, unlike the way it was before when Amechi was the governor. But now the reverse is the case. You see drains flooded. People no longer clean their environment. Why? Andrew, I'm just worried. Just run us through if there's anything government has put in place to ensure these things.
Is there anything that you are saying in your local government that looks like, okay, the government within your council are planning or preparing for?
Andrew, nothing.
That's the question, and I don't think we are really answering the question. If you live in flood-prone areas or areas that have been experiencing flood in the past, now there's been warning since the beginning of the year. Now there's a fresh one saying this is what we're going to experience: flash floods and so on. Yeah, in Obiakbo, you're in Falga, you are in Aoda West, you're in Aoda East, you are in Emoha, you are Oyigbo, the Orashi region. You are. What can you say? Have you seen anything? Has there been even okay, let's even say stakeholders meeting to discuss like how do we address this? How can we plan? What do we prepare for? What do we do? Since we have decided not to think about prevention, all right, let's begin to look at how to mitigate the impact. That's the message we've been preaching for God knows how long. Wait for it. When it comes, we'll just find a way to manage until it goes. We've not decided to take it serious enough to look at how do we even prevent it from the get-go. Okwandu from Irebe, good morning.
Good morning to you, Andrew. It's me. You see, if you come around, because I'm very close to Obibo, just this small rain that has started, see so many places are flooded. Even some people have started moving out of their homes. But I want to tell you that there was a time in this state a lawmaker proposed for the establishment of a state emergency management agency. I can categorically tell you that till today, nobody heard about that bill again. Just because it is not going to fetch the governor then some money, and it is not
we don't know if that's the case. So that's your personal assumption, perhaps.
Yes, it's my personal assumption, and so many people can also see that with me. And also, that bill was for the betterment of the masses. As a matter of fact, why is it that we are always calling on NEMA? What is wrong if the state has an emergency? What is wrong if the local government have an emergency management agency? All they are talking about now is, I made myself governor, I made myself this. Nobody is interested in what will help the generality of the masses. It is not good. Because there was a time I traveled to Bayelsa, I have to enter Gongoro, that's Tiba. So the floods are coming again, and nobody is doing anything about it. It's very, very unfortunate, my brother. These people don't care about us. They are only interested in their money. Thank you.
All right, Okwandu, thank you. Alfred from Emoha, good morning.
Andrew, good morning. Andrew, you see, in Emoha, where I'm calling from, there is not even an awareness not to talk of land to curb the the flood that you've been announcing that will come. You see, the problem of our country and my people from Emuha is the inability to plan because of our own selfish interest. Because the government at that time will not plan for tomorrow, because all that they will plan will just be within that time. So when the money comes, they will embezzle it and put in their pocket. As soon as they leave office, it's not their business again. That is the problem of our country. How do you not see now? Nobody has talked about the flood anymore. No plan, no meeting, no consultation, no word meeting. But if it is 2026 now, you see gathering every time here and there. But now that is something that would affect the people directly. There will not be planned over it. But if it is for election, you see plans and meetings here and there. Even family will be called for the meetings. It's so bad of our country.
JJ from Rumigbo, good morning.
Yeah, Andrew, good morning.
All right, morning to you, JJ.
I think there's a saying that he who failed to plan has already planned to fail, right? When they are saying, evacuate the area. Andrew, if you want to travel from Port Harcourt now to Bayelsa, you know the logistics involved? Especially when you have a family. You go drop money where they will take you up, you go do some other stuff like that, and that traveling, you will just decide. Now you are telling people who are by the river bank to move to where? Andrew, answer me now. Where do they move to? Where have you provided? When you watch the advanced world, let's say there is fire that is even emergency, you see where they are sending shoppers to evacuate people. So just the Oyibo go hungry you. And some of these things are self-made. I have somebody complain about room making it. Andrew, do you know that fast road, Celestio Omea Road? You know that road, right? Fine. If you come out as if you're going to Obirikwere, on your right, where you have that high tension poles,
yes,
like towers, right? You will see one very fine drainage. I think that job is by NDDC. You're supposed to lead from that place to the Shoba River. What did Rumekini people do? Now they are saying, it is the ring road. The ring road has not even been conceived when Rumekini started having floods. If you don't allow that thing to go through your area, then, sorry, comfort, bear with the flood.
But I think they're even selling the properties or land around that area now, if I'm not mistaken. Because I know that I saw there are certain buildings like people have to fill and then build.
No wahala. Let them bear it. Thank you very much.
All right, JJ, thank you. But there's everybody, all hands on deck. I think that's how they say it. Everybody needs to be part of this. If not, we have to be more serious with development and not just lip service and for scoring cheap political points and for fighting political opponents. That's when we talk development in that kind of way. It doesn't look like we have a roadmap for the next 100 years and what we want to be and how we want to be it and what do we need to do. It's almost like every time when it's time for election, we hear one. And the people are also part of the problem because now you are crying and complaining about all of this. You still collect rice and money and will still shout our leaders and follow and without thinking for yourself and looking at the reality on ground. So sometimes the people get what they deserve. Sadly, but it's sometimes the reality. Leighton Barry from Bori, good morning.
Good morning, this is Andrew.
Hey, welcome.
It is very pathetic that this issue become an issue that will be anchoring on always, and yet those responsible for it are serious. And the NEMA has always been alerting our people, alerting the nation of this flooding situation. Yes, it is when we see that it has started, that is when we begin to rush and look for solution. And it is not a viable one for us as experienced people, as educated people. So I want to call on the civil administrator. As the situation is becoming worse, let them set up a committee that can look at those areas that are always flooding, always, prone to flooding. Look at those areas. See, ask the people within the premises where it is easily that they can link some of this drainage to, and it will, take away some of these things. Because most of the problem we are having from this flooding is caused by construction companies who do not properly look at the sloping of those environments where water can easily slope to. And so they will construct it, put their gutter, their drainage anyhow. And at the end of the day, when they finish the lead, the people will begin to suffer from what these people do. And the government has failed in their responsibility to take absolute check on some of these areas.
All right, Leighton Barry, unfortunately, we have to interrupt you here. We got your point already, but time is not on our side. This is how much we can take. We need to wrap things. It's sad, it's painful. Can't we even, I don't know if we already have these laws at the local level. What are the councillors at the local level doing? What laws are they making? I was telling you, I keep making reference to my stay in Umuahia North. This was in 2013 to 2015 period. And you have a shop and there's drainage in front of you and there's dirt inside. Task force will carry you. They'll close your shop. There was a law at the local government.
For more talk.
Sorry about that. You can't. If your shop is here and there's a drainage in front of your shop, it is your duty to make sure it is clean. You can't dump anything inside. It's God help us when we get serious, because it's sad that we sit here every day. And we're going to continue talking about how do we mitigate the impact when there are a lot of things we can do to prevent it from even happening in the first place. Hello, Port Harcourt is next with Jude. Good morning.
Join us in celebrating High Chief Gift or Kono JP.